I don't know how this thing's gonna work. Oh yeah, it will. Okay, okay. Back. It's 8:30. I've already spent half my life doing what Amos says to do. Do you need a wet paper towel?
Yeah.
Just lay it out on the couch eating a warmed up Food Line donut. It's Saturday. So I just talked to my friend Jen. I was checking on her. She said, we're going to go to the coffee shop. I was like, is the coffee shop open on Sunday now? She was like, it's Saturday. I was like, oh. You know what's really sad about that is I already thought about that 10 times today. Like the fact that it was Saturday and not Sunday. Here's that, okay?
And there's that one.
And there's that one. The ocean is so
Almost
calm.
19.
What? Yes, he's gonna, when they have a break, he's gonna move up to our bedroom.
But why did you say taking it in the living room?
Well, honey, I don't know.
It's kind of
It looks like you found a nice spot to eat.
I don't want to eat here.
Why don't you go upstairs and eat in the kitchen?
No, I'm not going to sit up there and eat.
Is there a reason you have on my shirt? I have a daughter that's now decided she likes to wear my clothes.
That's not why I'm wearing your clothes. It's because I didn't bring any pajamas.
Why?
Because I thought I could just sleep in bathing suits.
I thought she could just sleep in a bathing suit because what better thing to do than to sleep in a bathing suit? Good morning, we're early. People are going to be like, you're early. We are early because I woke up early and I asked Seton if she could go early. So glad you were home. Hey, Michelle, my cousin. Hi, Seton.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Good. I've missed you. The summer's been so crazy and I've followed your trip. I was very jealous. Looked amazing.
Oh, I don't know if jealous is the word I would use. It was fun and pretty. I think, well, you know, when you travel with children somewhere,
Yeah.
we had a lot of time together in a very small amount of space.
Making memories.
Well, oh God, it's hot as hell out here. I told Blair, I was like, you know, I think you're learning about the difference in a trip. It was definitely a trip, which was good. You know, you got to see things. But vacation is more like, there's no way you could go on a vacation with your family. You'd have to go alone for it to actually be a vacation.
I know, you need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah, yeah. Like I thought I could have just sat right here in this condominium, and that's probably what I'm going to try to do that this fall. Just sneak over here by myself for a couple of days.
That's what, remember I did a live with you from Charleston. You're like, you're in Charleston by yourself. I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah, that is right. Well, and you know, normally I'll come down here and be like, I gotta wash stuff, which is fine, but you just need a couple days of quiet. And I hadn't seen Amos, so you know, adjusting to anyway. Yeah. Wah wah wah. Bunch of not real problems. So what is happening with the Murdaughs?
Well, there's a big hearing on Monday. It's all the legal stuff really going crazy now. It's kind of the Dick Harpootlian show. He's a showman and he's interesting. I went down to Columbia to his press conference, and in his press conference was to tell the world about his motion that he was putting, saying that he has not received evidence from the Attorney General's office, and also to address the leaks to the media. And that there's a hearing on this on Monday. So I'm trying to decide whether to go because I'm supposed to drop my son off at college, but he has a car. So I maybe could just go and then maybe the next day bring him the rest of his stuff. Certainly he can survive a day.
Huh. Well, so the leaks to the media, was this about when Mandy Matney, which wait, we need to have a pause. So I get a message last night from one of my subscribers, Janie, And she's like, has Mandy Matney left Fitz News?
Yeah, that she announced it yesterday. There's been rumors about this for a couple of months now that there was a split coming.
Uh-huh.
But she announced it on, did a formal announcement yesterday. That
So the guy on Fitz News with her, he doesn't do the podcast with her.
no, he has his own YouTube channel that he does stuff. He actually had an interview with a former sex worker who, yeah, it was kind of crazy. A former sex worker who claims to have serviced Alec Murdaugh, I think 4 times. And he was very, I know, and he was very aggressive and rough, pulled hair out. I mean, and she, I mean, I watched it. It was kind of crazy, but she didn't name her madam. But this week they actually announced that SLED has now interviewed her. So I don't know. Apparently she's kind of alluding that there's some big names beyond Alec Murdaugh involved in this kind of behavior.
Well, and she is the one, Fitz News is the one that reported they had gotten the information. This goes back to this hearing on Monday, that there was a recording of Maggie and Alec fighting, right?
Well,
Was,
that's not exactly what it said. So it was actually an article from Liz Farrell. And in the article, they say that I can quote it to you what it says. It says it was published back in June, and it says there was a video on Paul's now unlocked phone that shows Alec and Maggie talking by the dog kennels on the evening of June 7th, according to multiple sources. So it doesn't say what was on the video, but of course everyone's mind went crazy and said, oh my gosh, you know, Paul has videoed his parents fighting shortly before they were killed. You know, people went crazy. But there's 2 things. Dick Harpootlian saying this is, you know, he's kind of setting up a mistrial, that this is not allowing his client to get a fair trial because everyone jumped to conclusions about what was on the video. But back in September of 2021, there was a Wall Street Journal article that said, according to sources, that Alec was at Moselle, went to Moselle, he took a nap, he left to go check on his dying father, and that maybe mother or father, I can't remember exactly which one, but that he never saw Maggie and Paul. So there's problems with the timeline. I mean, that is also the bigger issue, is because if there is video placing Alec at the scene, but he claims he never even saw them, then his story's not consistent.
And I think in that 911 video or recording, you would know better than me, when we've all heard it, when Alec calls and says, I've just found my wife and son.
Yeah.
You know, there's no thinking that he was there for what happened.
No, he's not saying he was there for what happened. His attorneys came out of the gate, said he has an ironclad alibi, that he had driven to Vaudeville to see his mother, who suffers from dementia, and she has round the clock care. He said something like she was watching a game show with his mother. So
right.
They said ironclad alibi, but now if he was in close proximity at the time of their murders, the alibi maybe doesn't stand up. But so this week we've actually gotten some news about what was.
Don't give him glass, please. Warm him up and put him on that plastic plate. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. We've gotten what was actually on the video this week.
Huh.
Adrian?
No, I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, okay. I can see you now. Yeah.
Okay. So if he was there, and there'll be a timestamp on that recording at the dog kennels. So let's say the timestamp is right 20 minutes before, he's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think there's definitely some big inconsistencies with the timeline.
Huh. Huh.
But we did get some information. Oh, and he's also said that he was talking to one of his friends, Chris Wilson. He's an attorney, I think, maybe in Orangeburg. And he claims that he was talking to him on the phone 2 times on the way to Barnville, 2 times on the way back. And that his demeanor was described as completely normal. It's also a little, people have said it's weird that you would call someone 2 times on the way there, 2 times on the way back. Was he trying to establish this alibi? But I mean, I said my husband's best friend, when he's in the car, he literally calls him like every 5 minutes because he just can't just drive by himself. He has to talk to somebody.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but if he's called him, does he call him right back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he said I forgot something. Who knows? But the attorney says that Jim Griffin, Alec's attorney, says that Chris Wilson describes his demeanor as normal. So either he's kind of a psychopath, I mean, or you killed somebody, you think you would be like agitated or distraught or just, you wouldn't be talking about just normal, just regular stuff.
Right. Well, we know that Maggie's demeanor was not normal. She let the friend know something's going on with him.
Well, that's what it was said, and that's what it said in People magazine. It said that he was up to something fishy, is what it said.
Right.
But then now this week we get leaks about this video. So the family was, I guess, shown this video by SLED, and Dick Harpootlian in his motion says that the conversation between them was convivial, that Paul was at the kennels to check on his friend's dog, something about the tail, and that you could hear Maggie and Alec talking in the background, and that their conversation was convivial. I had to look that word up. That means friendly. You probably knew that, but I did not.
I just was guessing in your context.
I didn't know that. I did look it up.
Convivial. I sort of like the word convivial. I think I'm just going to start saying, I wish my life was convivial.
I'm going to start using it now too. Convivial.
I spoke to Seton. She was convivial.
And then John Monk had an article this week in the state paper where he says, let's see what it says. Let me get it. He says they were talking and it was extremely playful and friendly. That's weird because I don't really have any playful and friendly conversations with my husband, but maybe. It said it sounded normal, like a happy family, mother, father, and child doing something together. They are spread out. It sounds like they were just talking back and forth. And it also says, if you're going by their voices, it sounds like Maggie, Paul, Maggie, and Alec. And it appears that Paul is holding the phone and videoing something on the dog, possibly the tail. It's a very short video, only a minute. But, I guess Harpootlian is saying, why didn't you release, if there was a leak, which there shouldn't have been a leak, then why didn't you release the nature of the video? But we haven't seen this video, so we don't entirely know. I mean, what one person considers playful and friendly might be different to another person.
I don't even know what I consider playful and friendly, like a sex tape, basically.
Well, there are sex workers now involved.
Right. So Janie said, what about Alec paying Maggie's father from part of the stolen funds? What's that about?
I don't have much information on that. I know that was reported, I think, by Fitz, or maybe it was in Mandy's podcast. I'm not really sure because I've gotten a lot of questions about that, and I don't know, but it appears as if he was possibly paid for consulting work. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it myself. But that's possible. And I think a listener pointed out to me, if that was in fact true, maybe that's the reason that Maggie's family hasn't spoken out, because they're scared that he's going to be in some hot water for this. I do know that her parents are both in poor health.
Especially now, probably. Give me 5 minutes.
I'm sure it had to take its toll.
Yeah, I mean, I watched yesterday, I put myself in bed to rest at like 4:30, which then involved, just getting up every 30 minutes to do something for Amos. And I watched the Petite Murder thing on HBO Max.
Oh, I need to watch that. Was it good?
It's really good. And I've seen a lot about it. It was up in Connecticut, Petit, and his wife and one of the daughters, they were like, happened to be at the grocery store, and these two like people that had been released from prison followed them to their house. And then she went to the bank the next morning and she slipped a note and said, I'm being held hostage. The guy is driving me. He's out in the car. My family's being held hostage at home. And the bank person, you can listen to the 911 call. They get to the house. Well, very similar to lots of things, but kind of made me think of the most recent school shooting. The police didn't go in the house. So all the three women were murdered and raped. Not women, one was a child. And the police never went in. Anyway, but I don't know why I'm making that parallel, but
I don't know if I can watch. I don't know if I can watch that because I had a home invasion one time and the police were very slow to respond. So it
well,
it took the police like an hour to respond, and so it's kind of a trigger for me.
I mean, and this is really totally off topic, but it's something I've been thinking about a lot particularly with politicians. But I think in our head, we have police officers, or we have politicians, or we have physicians. We have kind of these specialists. What's the name on HBO? I think it's called the Chesterfield Murders, Janie maybe, or Chester Murders. But I think we have these people on pedestals, and then we're disappointed when things go wrong. Maybe you get a wrong diagnosis, or maybe you trusted the school shooting. Like, why didn't the policeman go in? And it's hard for us to wrap our minds around. But then it's like, as a parent advocate for lots of things, I think you have to realize, boy, everybody's sort of navigating blindly in the world.
Yeah.
There's no one that's an expert. No one has this 2020 hindsight.
I know. I really
when something goes wrong with you, even if you call 911, it's like you need to say, I don't know. It feels really odd to me that you could just be floundering out there, and you need to be telling people to do more than they're doing, I guess.
Yeah. The school shooting really got me, why they took so long to go in. I don't know. Somehow police need to with all of this going on, police really need to figure out their response better and maybe have some sort of coordinated response, like what they do in situations like this.
I think there's this hierarchy of this person's the boss and we're going to not say anything,
Yeah.
Because, there were other people there that didn't want to go by what somebody was saying. So at what point do you break rank? And it's the same thing with a physician. If you go to a doctor and they say, this is going to be the course of treatment. And then you have to say, hey, let's talk about other courses of treatment. You have to be pretty confident and educated to feel like you can challenge an expert,
Yeah, it's because that's just not my nature. Usually if I see a doctor and they say you need to do this, then I'm just like, okay, all right.
Right. And I mean, I'm right in the middle of that right now with Amos in school. The school has a plan and I want the plan to be different. And I don't know if the plan's going to work, but I know that it feels right in my gut. And so then that pushing of, hey, I want to know more, it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, we're dealing with that too. I have one who has a 504 and we have some stuff going on as well. So I'm not what you have, but we've been communicating a lot with the school this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and really that has nothing to do with the Murdaughs, but maybe somewhere it does. I think we think, okay, well, maybe they've got all this figured out. But honestly, they're probably I would think the gut is, we know he had something to do with this. It's too coincidental. Now we got to prove it. but they're just regular people trying to figure it out, you know?
Well, I really think that right now it is becoming kind of like this OJ situation. I think they're just trying to create reasonable doubt and get one juror to, and also create issues for appeal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's what I think is going on. I mean, it's definitely has this whole OJ vibe. Like everyone knows he did it, but no one wants. I mean, again, I myself sometimes have doubts. I'm like, just because I always like to think the best of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think, how could somebody do that? That's
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, how could someone do that? And then how could they, you know, go visit their mother or, you know, talk to their friend on the phone and sound completely normal, have a conversation. If this video is in fact accurate, have a, you know, conversation, a friendly conversation with your spouse, and then turn around and murder them moments later, and your son who was shot in the face.
Right. Right.
It's
I
hard
know.
to think about a father shooting their son in the face.
I hope when you get to heaven, there's like this like vault, and it just has videos of everything that happened. And that there's some way that all these like Scott Peterson, Michael Peterson, all these cases where it's like, did they do it? Alec Murdaugh, and that you just say, let's just press play there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know. Goodbye.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's like, it's so annoying to spend all this time and energy over denying something that if you had one little recording for 10 seconds, you would know the truth.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all that's going on Murdaugh. Hopefully I'm going to make it down to this hearing on Monday.
Well, and I was going to tell you, don't miss the college visit if your son wants you to go for that.
I know it's really hard, but I don't know that he cares.
Oh.
This is a conversation.
Well, I
with
get
him
that.
today. Like he might not care. I mean, he's a rising junior. I think he might. I mean, if he cares, I'm going to be there. But if he doesn't care, then I'll be like, all right, I'll bring the rest of your stuff up tomorrow.
And as a rising junior, I remember I thinking like, no, please don't take me. Not only did I.
I know. One of my friends, she dropped her son off at App State week before last. And on Saturday, she had to bring him some stuff he had forgotten. And he made it clear, like, I can only just see it for a few minutes. Like, he wasn't even, because he just dropped her off on Thursday and she had to bring stuff back on Saturday. And he wanted to just say, like, you know, I'm not going to lunch with you.
Yeah, no lunch available. I know that's how my boys are. They're all, Thomas at least has always been like, oh, I don't have time.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said.
I don't have time. This year, I'm like going up to like, I'm going to be like, well, nobody has to see me. I'll just wander around campus. And if I see you, that's great.
Maybe you can, yeah. Maybe you could show up at like the party and say, hi.
Yeah. Nobody wants me showing up. I can tell you that right now, except Blair.
I don't watch it.
Blair wants me to show up. Blair's going to get so much attention this year. It's going to be wonderful. Can you get out of her room? We have Russell's on an online virtual driver's ed class in our bedroom. Amos has taken over the top floor. Daddy has taken over the bottom floor. So there's very limited space in this house to actually do anything.
I know, because Russell won't go in the bunker.
Russell doesn't have internet in the bunker.
Yes, he does. He's such a fan.
Thank you for tuning in with us.
Thank you.
We'll check in after Monday.
Sounds good. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye, y'all.